Welcome back to continuing coverage of the 2019 GLVC Football Kickoff right here on the GLVC Sports Network. Next, our featured school today is McKendree University. The Bearcats are coming off a 6-5 record in the 2018 season, which included a 4-3 mark in the conference to finish fourth. In the GLVC preseason poll, the coaches have picked McKendree to finish fifth. Head coach Mike Babcock joins us today alongside senior wideout Matt Cole, senior defensive lineman Mike Smith. Gentlemen, welcome to the GLVC Kickoff. Coach Babcock, thanks again for welcoming us here in your home in Lebanon. What a place to get together to talk about some football. Give us your thoughts on the Bearcats this season.
I really like this group. I think this is a different group than I've ever had. I think if there's one word to kind of describe them, I mean, this is a blue-collar group. I mean, these guys work hard. We've had a lot of guys stay here over the summer, and I think everyone's kind of chomping at the bit to kind of get going to see how good we can be and can we improve upon what we finished out last year.
Thank you, Coach. 16 starters return, but only 4 on the offense. You have 3 solid juniors providing experience on the front. An honorable all-mention all GLVC wideout sitting next to you. Give us a preview of the Bearcat offense.
Well, I mean, I think that a lot of people will throw us, won't give us our due just because we are losing a lot of guys. But I'll be honest, I really like the guys that are planning on taking the place of the guys that have left. One of them that has been around for a while, Matt Cole is a heck of a wide receiver, heck of a returner as well. And he's one of our best leaders to kind of lead this, quote, young group out there. We still have a lot of positions that are still trying to figure out, and that's what, fall camp is about. Can we find a quarterback? Can we find some other wide receivers to complement Matt? And can we put together an offense that can be another top 15 offense in the country like we were last year?
Matt, you were recognized for a solid season last year in which you caught 22 balls for 354 yards, 3 touchdowns. You were named honorable mention all GLVC for your efforts as a return specialist on special teams. Now you're stepping into an offensive leadership role. Give us your thoughts on the appointment and what you have been doing to get yourself ready for this season.
One thing I have been doing a lot lately is really paying attention to film from last year. I like to just watch what mistakes I made throughout in football games, when the ball wasn't coming to me, and the difference between me having the ball and the difference between what I'm doing when I had the ball. During spring ball, also been looking at the old practices we have. The mentality I'm doing, how am I, when I'm not on the field with the team, what am I doing? It's because the camera, like the eye in the sky, just keeping an eye on you, just making sure to see what you're doing at all times, just making sure that I'm setting a good example, for those that are younger than me. I've been this whole summer. I've been staying here all summer for each year, and with shout out to Coach Fart because he's been actually. I want to say he's a good strength and conditioning coach. He pushes us to our limits in the weight room, and it also reflects on the field. So I would say what I've been doing lately is, I've been eating right, because this is nutrition that I just started doing. I've been eating a lot of junk food and I haven't been feeling right. So Coach Fart, he actually told me you should start doing this. So now I feel like I'm even more in my element. That's about it.
Thank you so much, Matt. Coach, 9 starters returned for you on defense, including second-team All-GLVC pick, senior linebacker Rico Gibson. Honorable mention selections Brandon Purnell, Mike Smith, and Isaiah Ward. 5 defenders at each line defensive boasted more than 50 or more tackles last season. Give us your take on the familiar faces of your defense.
We have a lot of guys coming back on defense. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of seniors, that are coming back. Mike Smith, Rico, a couple others that are leading the group. I know last year, I think a lot of people felt like it was a little bit of a letdown. I think even the players probably put more pressure on them than even us coaches or fans, as far as just the overall mentality of it. And I think what that's done in this offseason has gotten guys to, be a little bit more hungry. They really want to get after it. They've got a bad taste in their mouth, and they're trying to put that aside. And I think that's where that blue-collar mentality comes from. That's the working hard to, get better and take each game at a time. So I'm excited to see what our defense can do. We have a new defensive coordinator this year as well. So I think guys are rallying around, the defensive coaches. I've seen much improvement even from day 1 of spring to day 15. It's been night and day, and I'm really excited to see what they can do September 7th.
Coach, thank you. Mike, last year 50 tackles was a career high for you, and those came in your first year as a starter at defensive end, and you were really active on special teams as well, blocking 2 kicks in the season finale. Do those benchmarks at the last game of the regular season help carry momentum for you this year, or at least strengthen your mindset as you head into your final year?
Somewhat, yes. I think the biggest thing that that's pushing me into this year is kind of what Coach said. It was just the whole season last year. We went from being, not just me individually, but the whole defense, we went from being one of the best defenses, not only in the conference, but the nation in years prior. And I think that we were a little bit lackadaisical going in because a lot of us were guys that have played on those defenses, me included. And, coming in now, all of us are starters. Going back to last season, we're all starters now instead of backups to those great defensive players that we had. And so I think we went in with a mindset to the season that was just like, we're a good defense because of the guys we had before. And when we got kicked around quite a bit, that hurt us. And that really made us open our eyes. That really made us, like Coach said, be hungry this offseason. That made us, not that we didn't want to come every day, but it made us come with a purpose every single day. And we were going to get better at whatever we did, whether we were just going to class to do homework, whether we were going to the weight room, we were going out to the field, or we were hanging out, playing video games or something cool. We were going to try and be the best at everything we did. And that's what's really pushed us as a unit. We've gotten a lot closer because of those things, because of how bad, truthfully, how bad we did last year as a defense. And, for me, that's my goal is to lead these guys in the right direction coming off of last year and using that as our motivation to improve, especially through the spring, and that's what we used as our motivation and into this summer. And that's what we're going to reference back to throughout the whole rest of the summer through fall camp. We don't want to go back to that. And so as a leader on the team, and I, as a person who's leaving, trying to instill that on the younger guys, not to go back to those ways. That's what I'm trying to do for these guys.
Thank you. Coach, talk about your special teams. Consistency returns in the kicking game with first-team place kicker Josh Lazaro back as a junior, with fellow junior and second-team honoree Caleb Shipley back as your long snapper. Lazaro set school records in kicking points and led the GLVC, while the young man sitting next to you set a school record in kick return yards.
I'm excited about our specialists. I think it's great having the same guys coming back, and especially with a place kicker like Josh, a first-team all-conference guy. I can't say enough good things about Caleb Shipley as our long snapper. Any long snapper that can get down and actually tackle guys, and heck, he actually made an all-conference position, in a all-conference selection that doesn't even have long snapper, in the bylaws. So I still need to find a punter. That's the one thing that we're still looking for. But as far as a punt returner, kickoff returner, I think Matt's one of the best in the nation. I know he's been working on the small things, the details, the little things to make him even better, and really excited to kind of see how that plays out.
Talk about your schedule, Coach. Appears to be well constructed and balanced. You start on the road at Northern Michigan, and you come back to welcome Michigan Tech the following week, and then open up at home against GLVC Power UND. A non-conference game follows, and then you welcome the conference newcomer Lindenwood. Your final non-conference game is on the road, and you trade off home and aways over the final 5 weeks of GLVC action. I'm
really excited about this schedule. We've got a tough opponent, even in game one. I mean, this is one that we ended up beating this last year in a very hot, very physical type game, and I know that they will be ready to go, now that we're entering year 2 of this commitment. And more importantly, the next 4 games, we're playing some very, very tough opponents. Our first conference game is against UND, who's in the top of the conference, in my opinion. A very tough Shawan team that we ended up losing to a year ago. And then, in my opinion, one of the best, the second best team, coming into the conference in Lindenwood. So this is a very tough schedule. I'm glad that we have a couple home games in a row. But really what I'm preaching to the guys is just take one game at a time. We're not looking towards the end. We're looking at the next game, and Northern Michigan's our first one, a great team out of the GLIAC, and excited to get going.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck to you during your season. 4 teams down, 4 to go. We're back with more GLVC football kickoff coverage after this short break.
McKendree University is about the experience of a higher quality education and the discovery of endless opportunities. It's the experience of joining a vibrant community, making valuable connections, and serving others in the world around you. It's about developing strong leadership skills, both in the classroom and on the field, learning from expert faculty, and attaining the personalized education you deserve. It's the experience of finding a better you. McKendree University. Make your mark.